What's up, baddies? Gonna do a little riff on authenticity. I've been thinking about authenticity like the last week or so, and we have some big astrological themes this week taking us into different spaces of unveiling our own truth, our own transparency, our own path and purposes. And especially for a lot of the people that I work with, a lot of leaders, a lot of influencers, whether they lead like in a public space or even privately, like I am engaging with people that make big impact. Like they have ripples inside of the communities that they work inside of. And authenticity is like this buzzword, especially in a lot of the LGBTQ spaces that I work in. It's all about authenticity, right? Like living true to your authentic self. And I've seen some, what I feel like are like distortions or misinterpretations of authenticity. So I went to the dictionary and I was like, okay, what is the actual definition of authenticity? And the definition that I found was that authenticity is the genuine expression of your identity, beliefs, and values without fear of like what other people are going to think. And I would like to replace without the fear, because I think a healthy level of fear is normal. I'm sure there are some people that like skydive, for example, that completely overcome that fear, but there's like a natural inborn fear in most people of heights. And so becoming quicker and quicker at overcoming that fear and doing it anyway is one thing, but completely eradicating the fear of judgment, to me, that's like, we're bordering into like sociopath, psychopath that are completely devoid of those emotions and don't care what anyone thinks. So I think a healthy level of care, or having in the back corner of your mind, like, yeah, there's a little bit of fear there that like I could be rejected for this, but I'm doing it anyways, right? So I would say that living authentically is living true to your identity, your beliefs, and your values, regardless of the judgments or rejections of others. That's what I would play with. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. So what I've been seeing is there's sometimes this space where we're wanting to be authentic, like in our workspaces or with our spouses or even like influencers online, and we can mistake raw, unfiltered emotional expression as authenticity. Now, I'm not saying being honest about what you're feeling isn't authentic, but what I'm saying is we can get stuck thinking that our emotions are our identity. And that is a dangerous place to be, because emotions change just like the weather. You're not rainy, you're not sunny, right? You're the experiencer, the observer, the creator of your life. You're the person going about experiencing the different weather and orienting yourself accordingly, right? Like planning your day, planning what you're wearing based on that weather and what's happening. But to overly identify with your emotions can become a very unproductive, unhealthy thing to do. So when it comes to authenticity, this is what I want to invite us all to kind of start playing with. We have these 3 different spheres. I want us to imagine it kind of like a Vesica Pisces, where we've got like our identity, and it's our identity is like our identity as we understand it. But something else that I wanted to say that like was bringing in some spiritual little like nods for me was when I looked up just authentic by itself. Like authentic talks about, like having like an authentic gold bar or an authentic coin or something, or an authentic letter, right? It's like genuine origin. Okay. So when we're talking about identity, one of the things I was thinking about with being authentic is that so much of authenticity is connected to genuine origin, like who you were before you got to this planet, or if that's too woo-woo for you, like who were you before your parents got to you, or before patriarchy got to you, or society got to you, or the public school system got to you. What are some of those core elements that someone would say are kind of like your unique flavors, your unique brand, that makes you, it's like the units of you that goes through all these different stages or phases, but there are these core elements that remain the same, if you know what I'm saying, right? Like one of the things that's very core to my identity, and this is why I love astrology, I love human design, I love Gene Keys, is because these act as these amazing tools for self-discovery and self-exploration of like what kind of was my core like incarnation, what's the word that they use, it's like that frequency that you came in on that is so unique to you, that no one who's ever come before and no one who'll ever come after is quite the you-ness of you, right? So when we're playing with identity, I want to invite us into that space of realizing, like, sure, our identity is going to evolve and expand, right? Like, I used to go by the name Nancy. Yes, that's right. That was my birth name. And I used to have long curly hair, and I used to be married to a man, right? Now I go by V. I identify as non-binary, and I'm married to a woman. Certainly, those are some identity type things. But I want to invite you, when you're coming into a space of authenticity, to play with some of those like core elements within your nature that are the way that you've always been. So one of those for me is that I have always been a questioner of perspective from the very beginning of the time I could remember, questioning, especially when it feels like someone's perception is like jammed to one side or there's just only one way to see it. I've just been like this questioner of like trying to create this bridge or create this oneness between these two opposing sides. Like, find where we're more similar than where we're more different, right? Let's take the red and the blue and make purple. That's something that I've always done. Whether I was being a goody two shoes little Mormon girl, whether I was in sports, whether I was wherever I was, this is something that's like part of my core nature, right? I also have something in my nature of being kind of provoking. This is also in my gene keys where, like I like to, I can be like kind of funny and dynamic and sometimes poke the beast a little bit. When I'm in a low vibration, I can have really ill-timed jokes and put my foot in my mouth. But when I'm in like a great frequency of trust, like, I can place like the best timed joke or comment like in class or like with like my basketball team or whatever, and create all of this hilarity and laughter. Like, that is something, when I almost passed away with my first baby, I was in the hospital, like bleeding out. They're trying, like medical teams are swarming around me. And I'm in and out of consciousness and I am making jokes, and I'm trying to lighten the mood and lighten the energy of this space. And certainly like going through some of the intense things I did in my childhood, I started leaning more into like humor. And people say sometimes like, oh, humor is a defense mechanism. Like, it absolutely can be. Yes, I have used humor to diffuse tension, and I've used it protectively as well. But that doesn't mean it's always from that place, or it's always bad or a problem or misaligned or anything like that. So that's just some of those things that like I identify and I find inside of myself. Like, those are some of those core things that stay with me. Then we move into our beliefs and then our values. And I think it's interesting because I see that our beliefs actually form a lot of our values and vice versa. So that's kind of an interesting dance between the two of those. But really, when we play with this idea of the Vesica Pisces, of taking your identity, and some of those, like I said, are things that like we construct, like our name and our pronouns, or sure. But I want to invite you to play with some of those deeper elements, those core elements, and then combine that with your beliefs, and then combine that with your values, and then look at where you're at. So for example, like, I was saying this to a friend on Marco Polo the other day, because we were having this combo about authenticity. Like there could be a moment where my kids are acting a fool, and in that moment, like, my authentic truth, like my authentic thought or my authentic feeling is like, y'all are being stupid, right? That could be something that's very like true in that now moment, but expressing those thoughts and expressing those emotions isn't necessarily authentic. It could be honest, but it's not necessarily authentic, because what is aligned to my values? Like, I value raising kids with a healthy sense of self and a healthy sense of esteem. And research has shown us that calling your kids stupid or saying something like that does not create those results. So that's not actually aligned with my values of raising kids that are emotionally and mentally secure. I hope this is making sense. I'm curious to hear some of your thoughts about authenticity or what you've observed in the world. Because it's kind of a dance, and it's evolutionary, and who you are authentically today will evolve and be different. Some of the content I created 5 years ago, 10 years ago doesn't resonate with me anymore. It was true for me at the time, and it's evolved since then. So thank you for being here. As always, if this served you, please like, share, comment, follow, and we'll talk to you again really soon.